like Miami.
Miami, 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 Miami.
It feel like Miami.
Welcome to a somber edition of the Heat Beat podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas, and with me today we have Saucy Takes, Coach Lou. Lou,
What's up? My bad.
How we doing?
Mike's muted. It's a depressing day.
Yeah, listen, we have a lot to get to. We have the great, the talented, and often correct Siobhan Beslow. How are you?
Hello, people. I'm all right. I feel like I'm better than most, but I understand why we're not.
We're gonna get into. We got a lot to get into. We also have Brian Goins live from an undisclosed location in Southern California.
Fancy.
I'm in San Diego.
Don't give away your location. They're gonna find you.
So they can come find me. Go buy me some drinks, or I'll buy you drinks. I got per diem over
Brian
here.
wants to drink. Okay.
First round on Goins.
Chat has a lot to say already. We have Lenny Lester subscribing at Tier 1 for 24 months. That's 2 years. Hey, thanks for being with us that long. Says an efficient and truly correct statement. This is whack. I agree with you, Lenny.
Well,
Frankie in chat says more like fraud office. We have all sorts of opinions. L Spicy Boy says generational disaster class by the Heat.
good grief.
JG said we went up against a bigger hater than G. I don't know if I can even be mad. JG free subscribes with Prime says Jokic season. I'm sure some people here would agree. Other people are blaming me. We have takes from all over the spectrum, but let's get to what happened today. Around sometime this afternoon, around 3, we all get the weird notification from Woj that Damian Lillard is a Milwaukee Buck. He went for essentially Drew Holiday and a draft pick and a pick swap. I believe the pick swap is in 2029. So quite
So
far
I'll tell you
out.
exactly what it was.
Yes,
So
Brian, help me out.
what Milwaukee basically gave up, what they gave up, was Drew Holiday, like you said, a first round pick, I believe, in 2028, and then pick in 2029. Okay, and then 2 pick swaps in 2027 and 2028. That's it. Oh, Grayson Allen and Grayson Allen going to the Suns.
Those pick swaps are going to be far out. So, I was kind of hating on the pick swaps. They might be a little better than maybe anticipated, but who knows? Because Giannis could stay there a decade, and none of this matters. So that's what Dame went for. The Blazers in a third team got Phoenix involved, as we actually reported on that last week. We talked about how Phoenix was going to get in on this, and they did. They send DeAndre Ayton, and they get back Nurkic. So the Suns have a brand new shiny starting center that's not very good.
I don't know what the fuck they did there, but
they wanted to get rid of, from what I hear, they want to get rid of DeAndre Ayton. So Lou, I'll start with you, and we'll go around the room, man. Your reaction to that was what? Because we're going to get into what the Heat probably or may have offered, all the reports going out, but I want a quick, efficient, raw reaction, a couple sentences from everybody on the panel.
oh man, it felt like I got punched in the gut when I saw Dame trade. I wasn't expecting it to be us at that moment, just because. But once I saw that he went to the ops, as my friends called it, which is Milwaukee, then I got even more. It felt like I got punched twice in the gut, which is what made it worse. And after seeing what he went for, it was like I just got knocked out. It was a TKO. I was out for all day. Nobody could text me. Nobody could talk to me. Yeah, that was my initial reaction.
Bon, your reaction was what? Bon, you're muted.
Yeah, she's muted.
Now, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
My initial reaction was very much, I was pretty shocked. I'm not going to lie. Only, not that it wasn't us, but because it was Milwaukee of all places. Yeah. But I, in my hardest of hearts, I'm not mad at it. I don't feel any differently than I felt the whole off season. And, we kind of were at where we're at. And I think the one thing that I will say is, it's okay till we move and this and that, and that's fine. Like, we're gonna pick whatever. But like, you got to kind of let people have space to feel how they want to feel about this, with this, and like everything that's been surrounded. You got to kind of give people space to feel their feelings a bit, whether justified or not. But eventually we move.
Brian, in your undisclosed location in sunny, droughted California, what was your reaction?
So I got the text notification from like multiple people. I wasn't checking Twitter right away, so I didn't see the Woj tweet live like you guys did, like seconds later, and then started going to Twitter and like checking all the tweets. I probably didn't even look at Twitter till like maybe 15, 20 minutes later. I knew something must have happened because my phone was buzzing in my pocket as I was walking around. I got like 10 texts. I got text from my dad. I got text from you. I got text from Bleach Report asking us to come on and do an instant reaction. I was like, oh, something must have fucking happened.
I didn't see realized it all. I was playing 2K and I just had my phone down. And like my girlfriend texted me, was like, I'm so sorry for your loss.
I even was texting back and forth with someone that I've been contacting with in Tyler Heroes Camp. We'll give out names. And we've been chatting. So yeah, a lot of stuff has been going out regarding like this trade, and it sucks that it didn't end up in Miami's favor, and it ended up going to a team that most likely is one of Miami's now two biggest competitors in the same conference. So like if Dame was going to go to any team and get traded, I felt like Milwaukee was the most dangerous team that he could have gotten traded to. Like Toronto, you weren't really scared of Toronto that much if he had gone to Toronto, but to go to Milwaukee, and now that Boston like is still like pretty good, and who knows how that Porzingis fit is, like their top two competitors in the East presumably got better, and Miami got worse because they don't have Max Strus, they don't have Gabe Vincent. You're hoping for Hero to hopefully like give you something consistent in the playoffs and perform to his expectations, which I think he could. But then you're also counting on a bunch of young players that you haven't really seen in these kind of roles. And you're also hoping that health plays in Miami's favor again this season, which it has in the last two times they've made deep finals runs. So personally, I don't feel great as a Heat fan about any of this. And if you really want my honest opinion, I think Milwaukee is definitely the favorites to win the championship this season. If you want to bookmark that, like I've tweeted out earlier, go ahead. I just don't see Miami like being a contender this season. Maybe they can make a run to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I think the ship probably stops there for them.
Brian is in disaster mode. Barry, listen,
disaster.
we have DEFCON 1 in Miami. We have Barry Jackson tweeting out, quote, anyone who asks us or 5 Reasons or Anthony Chang, etc., whether the Heat can get random next available name, parentheses, Holiday, Healed, whoever, and parentheses, understand that yearning for this has become an unhealthy, unsatisfying way to go through life, like an addiction. Accept reality of the way things are.
Yep.
Barry Jackson. What?
Ether to everybody.
I love Barry, but I swear to God, he needs to stop talking to Andy and Pat. He needs his own opinions.
Barry is telling you, Brian, to walk off the ledge. Barry's saying, accept life.
Barry, you need to stop drinking that Heat culture Kool-Aid. Because, I know they like their team, but Heat fans know that this team, while they can make these incredible playoff runs, they don't have enough juice to get the job finished. Like that Kobe meme. Job finish? No, it's not.
Job's not finished.
Whatever. You understand what I mean. Anyways, like I was saying, like to me, it feels like the Heat took what happened last season. They had a really bad regular season, but they were able to still squeak by and make it to the playoffs as a play-in team. And then they have this incredible finals run, which is awesome. We were all happy. We had great hangover time episodes. It was a great time for us. But if you look back at it, like we knew this team still needed help. Like Jimmy needed help. We saw it all throughout the playoffs. He basically was burnt out after the first round and like the first few games of the second round after that Josh Hart injury. And it's like these are things that you have to account for as a general manager, as a president, as a team. Like, what are you supposed to do when you've seen this team year in and year out get so close to the finish line, but you can't cross it?
Yeah. Chat.
The best. Wait. I'm not
Oh
done.
my, Brian, let it.
Chat asked if you were stung by a fucking bee.
What does that mean?
I guess your face looks shallow.
Does my face looks red?
Oh my god.
Have rosacea. Get over it,
bro. Bond. Brian, you've talked too much. Bond.
No. I'm not done. The best thing.
Bond. So
you could have let him go for it.
All we got was fucking Kyle Lowry for Jimmy Butler.
And
what the fuck is that going to do for us anymore? He's 37 years old.
I'm happy. Yeah. Listen, I'm just saying, Barry Jackson is telling us all to get a grip and to touch grass.
Yeah,
right?
I'm telling Barry Jackson he needs to keep Pat Riley accountable.
Well, that's talk on the timeline. We're gonna get into that in a second. What I do want to talk about right now is as we kind of explore all angles of what's going on. Anthony Chang tweeted out through Damian Lillard's agent. He said, Dame Lillard's agent, Aaron Goodwin, on Heat's pursuit of trade. Quote, "They did everything they could to acquire Dame. It takes two to get a deal done. I appreciate all that Pat, Andy, and Mickey did to try to make this happen." And what's interesting to me, guys, and I'll do Bon and then we'll go to Lou, is that runs counter to what the organization is telling Le Batard and Barry Jackson. Because we know that Barry is getting his information from the front office. We know that Le Batard gets his information from the front office. We've known this in the market for a while. And what Anthony is saying runs counter to that. Bon, I don't know how to untangle the truth of what happened.
I can understand that, and you're absolutely right. And that being the statement from Chang and from from Dame's agent himself, like you said, that runs counter to everything that we've heard, and I think actually helps soothe some people, right? I think a lot of what at least felt, I'll speak for myself and some stuff that I've seen too, like this idea that that they let it get out that they were playing it so cavalier. And no one wanted them to be desperate for it. I'm upset that they put themselves in positions to kind of where we are now, but those are feelings.
Yep. But wouldn't you say that what Dame Lillard's agent is saying is that it doesn't seem like, because that's coming from Dame.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting to. Right. So that's a good thing. That's from us.
Because that's coming from the guy who's most affected by what happened.
Yeah, or most intimate to what is going on. Yeah. And so to know that it feels like the front office did their due diligence, regardless of what was kind of said and however we feel about stuff that was said, it makes you feel good. And that's, for me, last thing on it, it's really kind of disheartening because the possibility of people just being petty and just not wanting to cooperate with you when you're trying to act in good faith. And it's like, damn, you really don't want to believe that people are but no, people choose to want to deal with you, want to have business relationships for whatever their motivations are. So I think that not that was surprising, but that was a little relieving to see come out. And then at the point that we're in now, they did all they could do. It's literally, you got to kind of chalk it up a little.
You just take the L, right? Like, what are you going to do if somebody's not going to work with you? And Lou, that to me is kind of interesting because, like I said, the organization is telling the media here, right? The media that talks to them, they're like, hey, we're not desperate. Our offer is our offer. And they seem to make that very clear to the local media. Now, that runs contrary to things that I heard. As I talked about, there was communication with Phoenix, which that turned out, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Like Phoenix was obviously interested in getting in that deal. And, we had that a week ago in Miami. I'm sure, judging from what I heard, was doing their due diligence there. And it just doesn't make sense that they have a chance to get this guy and they draw the line at, listen, Riley's not Sam Presti. He's a guy that he'll send anybody to get anyone. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. So for him to haggle over this and that, or like, oh, Caleb Martin is like my, like that's just, I just don't believe that. I don't know, Lou. I don't believe that.
I genuinely agree with you entirely. I don't think it was that the Heat didn't want to offer them as much. And it just, like you said, it depends what side of media is pushing what. But to me personally, I just feel like they did not want to talk to Miami. I feel like they didn't value what Miami has, even though it could have been arguably the same or if not better than what they got from Milwaukee. That's a discussion for another day, to be honest. And I fully understand Brian's anger in this situation. But to Bond's point, the Heat did this to themselves. Why? Because if y'all remember, as soon as summer started, the first move that was made was Bradley Beal for fucking nickels. And I was out here yelling at the top of my lungs because that felt attainable without giving up the farm.
You and Bond were there from the start on that.
Exactly. You know what it costs to get Dame. Now, like you said, I don't think Caleb Martin, I don't think Jaime Jaquez, I don't think Nikola Jovic is going to stop Pat Riley from acquiring Damian Lillard. Why? Because we've had precedent of this before. He did it with Shaq. People at the time, there are some people who didn't want to trade Josh Richardson. He traded Josh Richardson and Hassan Whiteside. Yeah, he's made trades for stars. He doesn't give a fuck. That's the whole point. So to me, this is shocking, not from the standpoint that we didn't get him or what he went for. It's just shocking that, and this isn't the first time, I feel like just teams don't want to argue with the Heat because they don't want to, I don't know, they just don't. I feel like we're not like they're on the league, to be honest.
We're not, but we do some of that to ourselves too. God, I hate and when we have built ourselves up to walk with the confidence and kind of the air that we have about ourselves. But and I don't know if this is just it really is just an online thing, but online things kind of make their circulation. Like people get tired of us, whether they have a justified reason to, and I don't even want it to sound like y'all are like people are some haters, but like we know our programs. We know our programs good. We know that we've had talent. We know we are a well-run organization. We build talent, and like all of those things, we like rubbing people's face, not necessarily in an aggressive way, but like y'all have all this shit to say, and then we're still good in spite of all of that stupid shit. So I've long thought that people like weren't really going to make it easy for us to get talent, like, and just I don't know.
Brian, what did you? I know you wanted to say something.
I mean, Pat Riley gave us the playbook. He said earlier in his press conference of what needed to happen for Miami to land another star, and it happened the way that they were. I mean, like we were mentioning, Dave anticipated that Damian Lillard was going to request a trade. They had basically planned that was going to happen, which is why they passed out on the opportunity to get Bradley Beal, and he put Miami as his preferred trade destination. How often does a player not go to his trade destination? And that's where I get to, like if you're the Miami Heat, I don't think they did enough. Like, they felt like they had the better offer. I think they needed to go all in. And I know that they felt like they could have gotten this probably at their price, or they should have gotten it at their price. It doesn't come down to that anymore. Like, you needed to do everything you could to surround your two-star players with a player that fit them extremely well. Like, this was a guy that they've passed on other stars in the past. Like, they didn't really go all in for Donovan Mitchell. They tried to get Kevin Durant. Obviously, that didn't happen. They tried to get Bradley Beal. Well, maybe they didn't try to get Bradley Beal, but they passed on several star players in the past. I know they wanted Giannis. They basically keep trying to like get a player in Jimmy's timeline, and they haven't gotten it done since they acquired him. And like you had both of them calling Damian Lillard. He wanted to come here. In fact, today there were reports that basically he was anticipating that he was going to get traded to Miami today, and that Milwaukee was like out of blue, out of nowhere. Like they didn't anticipate that the Milwaukee thing was going to really happen. So
I bet you that Bucks offer had been there for a while, and Cronin looked at whatever crap Masai was offering, whatever, and we know how he kind of feels about Miami, and he just said, "Fuck it, we got to do this before Monday." Yeah, this is palatable to me.
Yeah,
and Bond, you had a great tweet about it because he doesn't send him to Toronto, which I think he might have Dame might have kicked and screamed.
He would have not played.
He sent him to a place where he's going to have a chance to win a title, and I think Cronin saved face a little bit. I don't know if he saved face with Dame personally, but I think he did say face publicly by like, hey, I sent my star to a champion with the 2-time MVP, and he's going to have a chance to win titles. And I did my job. I got a return that I'm okay with, and my star got a chance to win. And I think I think he just took that. You know, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I truly believe that Miami had a better offer. From just, I cannot say concretely because I've not been, but just an educated guess of everything that everyone's told to me. And listen, you guys know that I'm not out here trying to break. I'm not Leif. I'm not Ethan, but I've done some legwork on this story, and I feel pretty confident that I think their offer was better.
Definitely could have been better.
So do you stick with the offer being the framework we've seen floated around today? You feel that way, and then I'm gonna get to your point about what I was saying.
I actually think they might have had to give less because part of that was sending Caleb to Phoenix to placate them, to make it worth their while.
Yeah.
But it just seems like they were just so sick of Ayton that might have not even had to come to that.
Yeah,
so that was one of the things I was wondering. Like, okay, like
yeah, to G's point, that trade that they made, even though it was a 3-team deal, it could have just been a 2-team deal if they didn't trade Dame. They could have just done the 2-team deal between Portland and what's it called? The Suns, basically sending Ayton out for them because the only player that they got from the Bucks was Grayson Allen. And honestly, like, is Grayson Allen like really the difference? That much of a difference?
Did they not get Drew? I'm confused.
No, he's talking about the
Suns. I'm talking about the Suns.
Oh, okay, I got you.
The Suns and Portland could have made that trade, and apparently that was reported by a couple of Portland outlets like that. Potentially, that could have been just a separate deal on its own. Yeah. I guess they were talking about that as not part of a 3-team deal. So
what you were saying that I agree with you. And okay, so Miami fans probably feel like they had the better package or whatever. One, people keep saying hero. Portland's made it clear that they weren't interested in Tyler, knowing very well that that an option was there to then flip him once acquired him. They did not want to, from all that we've heard, they weren't really trying to fuck with Tyler. Cool. So people keep trying to throw that, oh, we could have thrown Tyler, we have the better deal. You can't tell someone what's better for them if they don't like. I can't convince you that what I have is better if you just don't want what I have. Like the value is intrinsically to whom it belongs, and so you feel like you have the value there. I don't necessarily do. So, like G said, right, they got back something that he feels okay with. They stuck
that
it
publicly is okay.
And hold on, I'm gonna get to, so he should be however they want to move Drew or whatever. They should feel decent enough with what they got back. I believe in some DeAndre. So they should feel okay with what they got back there. They stuck it to Miami on some. You're not just going to bully me, back me into a corner, and think I'm going to give you this and take cheap for back. Like pushing back there a little bit. And yes, if not to send Dame somewhere that he explicitly asked for, Miami and or Brooklyn, then to send them somewhere where they're going to win games, they're in immediate title hunt. Milwaukee's a fine city. Like I think he at least got a solid C+ to B- across all of the things when it could have been some wild A- F.
Milwaukee's a what?
He got fleeced.
To you, and that's in your value. That's
I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why. Because
but that's you, and I don't think that Dame really cares to be in Miami or like a market like that. I feel like Dame wants to be able to kind of relax. He's been in Portland for 11 years. Like,
they've been talking every day apparently.
It's cold.
Like,
I know.
Damn, and I've been talking every day. They've been wanting this to happen.
I know you're.
I understand.
He's going to report to Milwaukee. He's going to be happy enough because he'll be contending. But
contending. There you go.
In his heart of hearts, he wanted Miami over everything else.
Yeah, we understand that.
So, I agree with everything kind of said. What I will say is, I guess my sticky point, and I know a lot of people disagree with me. I talked to some of my friends in the NBA, and they're like, "You're crazy." They're telling me that Drew's going to get them a better return because in reality, they don't want Drew.
How?
Why do you think that he's not a better return than who?
Because he's been on the record saying he's going to retire in like 2 seasons. One season.
Let me say this. Drew is. I just think that the market for sending multiple picks for guys like that is going to change because the second apron, everybody talks about like the Heat not wanting to be a second apron team. Like that's some sort of indictment. Bro, you don't want to be a second apron team. They start taking your first round picks away when you're in the second apron. You don't want it. The second apron is like designed so that you don't go to it because
they don't take your first round picks away. You just can't trade them.
You can't trade them. They're like, it's a really punitive. Like, could you imagine if you're a contending team and you can't trade your picks because you have too much salary? How do you get out of that situation? You don't
manage your shit better.
Exactly.
Use
so like
the players.
So what I'm saying is like the Heat don't want to. No team wants to get caught in that. So like the people that saying like, oh, the second apron stuff, like that's bullshit. Like no team wants to be in that. And I think controlling cost-effective players is going to be very important in this new collective bargaining agreement.
Absolutely.
So I don't think that like Drew went for 3 first-round picks. There's like the market's going to be different. I don't think that guys like that are going to go for 3. Guys of his caliber are going to go for 3 first-round picks. I would be surprised if he goes for 2 first-round picks because that's a dangerous proposition given the new collective bargaining agreement and given his salary and everything. So I have my reservations on. I think that Hero can get you a first. I feel confident in that at the very least he can get you a first and take back some salary that's not detrimental to your team. I believe that. Holiday can get you a first and probably the same thing, maybe a player. Maybe he gets you a little bit better back. Maybe it depends because the team could really like Hero because he's younger and stuff. I just think it's pretty negligible. Maybe I'm wrong. I am super like down to be like, gee, you're fucking crazy. Drew can go for 2 firsts or Drew can go for a first and a good player. I could be super wrong. And Bon, you're nodding. I'm like, I'm not going to pretend to know the market.
Yeah.
I just don't like, you could have gone, you for sure could flip Hero for a pick. And the Portland's not going to be contending, bro. You flip them for fucking salary that you know what I mean? Like you can make that work.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think they both have pretty similar trade value. You can argue, obviously, we know who the better two-way player is. That's besides the point. But just due to age, contract, like Brian stated, Drew Holiday came out and said after we beat them this year, he's going to finish out his contract and probably retire. Like, this is out on record, and this is what he said. People can change their mind about anything. You know, I don't hold nothing against him. But this is what's stated. So, just his age is a concern just in general. You trading more than 1 first-round pick for a player of his caliber who isn't really a Dame-esque, you know, he's not in that tier. He's probably like 2 tiers below him. And it's not a knock to him. He's a great 3 on a team or something like that. But Tyler's kind of the same thing. He's just younger. So it's kind of, you know, where do your chips fall in? I don't know, man. I feel like, truthfully, I just feel like the Heat, ultimately, I feel like this isn't the worst thing that could have happened because they do get to keep some, like you stated, some of these cost-controlled assets. They get to keep their picks. They get to see what's out on the market. Now, do I think this team is fit to make a run into the – do I think this team is fit to win the championship? Absolutely fucking positively not. I am not blind. Do I think they're fit to make a first, second round, be a second-round exit, perhaps, maybe in Eastern Conference Finals? I just don't know.
I just think talking about that is like a moot point because you're just asking Jimmy and Bam to like, hey, guys, can you do it again?
Can you do everything all over again?
By the way, Bon, shout out to you. Like, Gabe Vince is not walking through that door, and he was incredibly important.
Max
like,
Strus not shout out to Tiffany not walking through that door.
You got to
he will be actually.
I'll say this about Max, and I've talked to Tiff about this.
I know.
That he got the bag. Congratulations. Miami cannot be paying a guy like that.
I wouldn't want to pay him that contract.
So like in my mind, Max was just not a possibility. And there was no sign and trade possibility for that either because Cleveland just had the cap space to make that happen with or without Miami. So for Cleveland, it just Miami just had no horse in that race. The one that hurts is Gabe because
they did a sign trade. It was the Lakers that had the cap space.
The exception. Cleveland had the cap space. They gave him an extra like $2 or $3 million.
They needed to do the sign trade because they had to sign him to a little bit more than what their trade exception was. They used most.
No, they used a mid level, but they signed him for a little bit more than the mid level.
That's what I'm saying. But they didn't sign into the mid level. They used the trade exception because they used the mid level on Gorgeous Niang and another player.
Okay, before they signed. We have Brian Goins here. Brian Goins.
They did. It was a sign trade. Miami got the second round pick, and then they did the sign and trade with San Antonio's help.
How did I not know that?
Cedi Osman got traded out to San Antonio. in that deal.
Mark
along
Stevens.
With
Oh my
Mark
God, yeah.
Stevens.
And you know what's
Miami
funny?
got the trade exception, the second round pick though.
Yeah. Okay, it's all listen, we took a month off.
You're the one that reported that basically to me.
I know. I remember.
Work,
I was doing the groundwork on that. I totally forgot. Hey, listen, I've had a good summer. Holy shit! Hell yeah, for me.
No,
Losing
great,
weight
fantastic.
again, playing volleyball. Won my first game on my volleyball league this year. Or 1-0,
Awesome.
baby.
Cooking.
That money, cooking. Oh man, I surf so well.
Somebody said G was asleep as Pat Riley.
Dude, yeah, no,
Yeah, you
for
were.
Rested.
Rested.
I mean,
So-
we are rusty. This is our second pod in like 2 months.
Yeah, listen, you know, we're kind of getting the swing of things. So yeah, I'm just like, you know, the loss of Gabe, it kills you because he was so good in pick and roll in the playoffs. I know he had a rough regular season, but in the playoffs, I mean, he was so big time in that mid range area. I felt so good about him coming off a screen into that pull up from mid range.
Yeah.
So good, he could attack the rim. He was really good at kind of getting that little baseline angle off those low BAM screens. Oh, it was beauty, Bon. I know you love it. You know, he was great, and they lost that, and they had no replacement. I mean, they had Josh, and listen, I love Jay Rich. Jay Rich is like one of my all-time favorite Heat players.
Please
like
stop.
ultimate, listen, like ultimate vibes. Like I love him. I loved covering him. He was one of the players that I talked to in the locker room the most. He was very friendly to me. He just hasn't been good since he's been here, and you know, maybe you can recapture some of the magic, but I just don't see him being better than Gabe Vincent was.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate to that because I want to. First of all, I want to come out and say, as Bond knows, Gabe was my favorite player as well last year. Obviously, aside from Bam, I don't want to count Bam or Jimmy, but I love Gabe Vincent. Like he is, I think he's the biggest mistake they've had aside from Beal personally, because I don't think Dame is out the door, whatever. But just in general, I was looking at some stats. Josh Richardson was a more effective pull-up shooter this season than Gabe at every level of the floor. I'm not saying he's better than him. It is to be determined. But
no,
Gabe,
but the regular season,
yeah. No, I agree, and I agree entirely.
Gabe had some injuries, and listen, he had a rough regular season. There's no two ways about it.
Absolutely.
But we saw the level of play that he's capable of.
Yes, and it's not to take anything. I'm not here to say Josh Richardson is better. I'm just here to say that transition isn't going to be as rough. I do think what's going to be rough is the guy that you have under your name, G. He's 1 year older, and I have no idea what the fuck we're going to do with him.
Hey, you watch your fucking mouth. Okay?
No, I'm just.
We are not. This is not a democracy.
This is not.
Listen.
Bon, what'd you have?
No, I agree with all that Lou said. No. Yeah. So I think I'm with you on the. I hope it's some of the recapture the magic because you know I admittedly haven't been watching all of Jay Rich's journey, and I know
San Antonio basketball.
You know, I know.
The Pelicans.
I know people stand, you know, all their toes down on the idea that Jay Rich was just asked to do too much when he was here. And so if we're in a different role, you know, you maybe see a different composure, just maybe a different effectiveness out of him altogether or whatever. That one, I don't consider Jay Rich, I guess, the Gabe replacement because of Josh's athletic ability and kind of his springiness and the way that I can see them using him defensively and what his new role would be without the ball kind of in his hands. I saw Jay Rich as more of like your Caleb insurance. Say, you know, your Jamal Cain is not up to speed. You don't know what you're getting out of Ami. You don't know. I saw Josh as some of the Caleb, you know, kind of slack there. And, you know, you're right. You're thin in the point guard room. You're thin in the power forward room. People are saying that they're fine at 4. I think that I've seen some. I think that people are trying to convince themselves that they're fine at 4.
That's cope.
That's so much cope. But it was,
we're fine at 2.5 positions.
I've seen some wild stuff from that particular person. Anyway, but just like, you know, it's rough. I think it is a lot of kind of cope happening, and you're hoping on some things to pan out. Unless we're just fully ready to embrace, you know, the kids and how we can best use the kids.
Say we're fine at 4.
How we can just use the kids around Jimmy and just see what we can get. They say that they feel good. They can tell that to themselves. I don't feel terrible, but I'm not happy given the Bill stuff. You haven't really asked me about that yet. I'm gonna pass the ball, but I have feelings on that, and it's just I don't know. I'm happy the whole Dame thing is over, but I think it does leave a considerable amount of like fallout or just like spillage in a few different areas as a fan.
Well, and we'll get into next what was and what wasn't with Beal and kind of the other moves that they took a flyer on. But I want to kind of bookend some of the stuff with, kind of what I feel is that Joe Cronin felt that he was cornered by Riley and Masai Ujiri because those
and Dame. I'm just going to Miami. How you gonna tell me where you just going? Like, come on.
Dame, Pat, and Masai, 3 horrible people to corner you, cornered this man, and they created a monster. They created a generational hater. And I've been saying for a long time, I think he was willing to take a worse deal if, you can kind of make it favorable publicly. And I think he did, right? And at the very least, it's equal. And normally if deals are equal or about equal, you send the star where they want. The Heat did not expect the bubble to burst with them. This has happened before with Kawhi, and I think Kawhi was different because there was 1 year left on the deal. And Kawhi, I don't think was going to hold out, because he had 1 year left and he got sent to a good situation. So the only other kind of analog I have is Kawhi, but they cornered him. They lowballed him. I mean, Masai Ujiri was offering. I mean, it's all again shit I was saying a couple days ago, but now you see the report. Anunoby was not offered. Scotty Barnes was not offered. It was Gary Trent Jr. It was Grady Dick, Precious Achiuwa, and protected first-round picks.
Yeah,
that man was haggling. That was true immigrant father behavior. Listen. That I've seen it. My dad's like that. I know what it looks like. It was hilarious. And Riley is like, motherfucker, you have nowhere to go. And he was cornered and he found a place to go. And I do think it's funny that Blazers fans are like, in your face. See, we didn't have to stand for your shit. They got lucky. They got lucky that a deal like this materialized because, to be honest with you, a lot of teams don't want to trade for an unhappy 33-year-old on a Supermax deal. That's why there weren't more suitors, because Dame Lillard is good enough to have more suitors. But nobody wants to be the team to trade stuff for a guy who's 33, who's going to be owed $60+ million at age 36. Nobody wants to risk that, which is why the Raptors were not offering Anunoby, because they've been burned by a guy saying peace before. So Cronin, these two men felt, okay, we're in control. This motherfucker has nowhere to go. You just got to do what we say. And Cronin found it out. And he just said, fuck you, fuck you. And that's kind of how it goes. And at the end of the day, he gets the last laugh. We can call him a hater. We could say, bro, you kind of got fleeced. I mean, Dame Lillard for 1 first-round pick, 2 pick swaps, and Drew Holiday is simply not good enough. Drew Holiday was traded for more than Damian Lillard was, if we're being honest. Like, Drew went for 3 picks and stuff and good players. So that's kind of where we are. It takes 2 to tango. The Heat, clearly, I think it's fair to say the Heat didn't put their absolute best deal in, but I think they put more of what Barry Jackson and the organization lets us know, probably to protect the players that they have on the roster, to save face a little bit, kind of act high and mighty like we don't need you. Maybe they're deluded. I don't know. But just judging from what I can kind of tell, and that's kind of where we are. So let's talk about where we're going to go, right? Because, the Heat passed on some guys, right? The Heat passed on Beal because they're like, I have a bird in hand, but, let's go for, let's shoot for the stars. Buddy Hield is still being talked about to Miami, something we talked about last week. I look at that as much less likely. There's Holiday, and I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, but I don't even know how they proceed, Lou.
I'm just as lost as you are, man. It is foggy out here. I'm trying to see the vision. Shit is foggy. Clouds are everywhere. Raining. It's a snowstorm in Miami. I can't see shit, man. It's cold. Pat's sleeping. He's hibernating at this point. I don't know. No, I'm kidding, man. But like realistically, I just don't see a plan right now. And it doesn't fit the timeline. Like, I believe in the kids personally. I extremely believe in Jovic. I got slandered on it on the last pod I came on because of it. I do believe in him. I think his value is better than he's better than what his value is perceived as. But still, I just don't know where they're going. They have holes on this roster to win now that I don't know how they're going to fit them. I don't know how they're going to clear them. I don't think they're just like Dame is one piece that they were missing. There's not a Dame level piece to be had. Like, you know, like you can survive with the hole at the 4 if you got Damian Lillard at the 1, Jimmy and Bam. You get what I'm saying? I don't know.
I absolutely agree with that, and I've been saying that as well.
And I don't know if they have pieces to go acquire and mold the team around those two towards where you feel that comfortable. So I'm just curious to see what they do. I think step one has to be, I mean, they cut Jamari Bouye. What the fuck are they doing today, man? That means they believe in Drew Smith. We'll see where this goes.
That is your and Frankie's 9/11.
More his than mine, I'm not going to lie, but still. More his than mine, but still. No. My guy was Kane, but he disappointed. My guy's Jovic now, man. I'm a Jovic guy.
You're a Jovic guy?
Always have been.
Brian.
Yeah.
Where do they go? Because I'm with Lou that they have a lot of problems. They need scoring. They need shooting. They need rim pressure. They need size. They need power forward, and they need wing depth. That's a lot.
They need some youth if they can.
They got that at least.
Okay, sure. I guess.
You know, they as the great Tiffany Meeks reality check master says, they need.
Oh,
and
they just need.
I agree that Dame is good enough that maybe you can be good enough that you can overlook those needs that are glaring. Because listen, Jimmy was sensational that they almost got away with not having a playable backup center and a non-functional power forward. I mean, let's be real. And Caleb was on one. Brian, where do they go?
I mean, we're less than 5 days from media day, and
Monday's
training camp
day.
starts Tuesday. Yeah. Look, we're at the end of the off season. Moves already basically been done across the league. Yeah, we got maybe a couple. We got a couple players that might be traded still. So really, like the 3 players you're looking at on the market would be you just mentioned Buddy Hield, Harden. We don't know what his situation is going to be, but he's out there at strip clubs partying up with signs saying Daryl Morey's still a liar.
We have not talked enough about that man in China. Calling Daryl Morey a liar.
He knew what he was doing.
He's the GOAT. He is the GOAT of getting out of a situation. No, that's it. Harden, the bottle girls bringing out Daryl Morey is a liar. He says it on Chinese television. I got to be honest with you. That man in Houston, he sabotaged his own statistics. Players never do that. He's like, I got enough points. I don't give a fuck. Get me out of here. Incredible.
And I guess Drew now. But I don't imagine Pat Riley. Like Pat Riley is such a stubborn fucking asshole that he's not going to call Cronin after all this.
I wouldn't call
and try
Cronin
to get Drew.
This. I wouldn't.
Like normally, yes, they do their due diligence and see what the market's out there. And it seems like the other teams that were linked, according to Shams, for Drew would be other contenders on the fucking Eastern Conference, considerably the Boston Celtics. So like you're letting the 2 teams that already were like your competitors, your top peers get even better. Like to me, that seems ridiculous, but that might be the case. It might be the case where Milwaukee lands Dame and Boston finishes their off season with both Drew Holiday and Porzingis. So do you let that happen if you're Miami? Do you try to put an even more competitive offer to go get Drew Holiday? Because I don't see how Cronin gives Drew Holiday to Miami unless it's anything like more than like 2 or 3 first-round picks. Like it's basically going to cost them what it would have cost to get Dame, I think, if they want to get him.
I'm sorry, I'm not. If I'm dying and I need an EpiPen, I'm not calling Joe Cronin. I'm sorry. I don't think there's any situation if I'm Riley that I'm picking up the phone to call that man.
I mean, they need point of attack defense now, especially if you're playing against Dame in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Lowry, can you give us 38?
You don't got Gabe Vincent going full court guarding Jalen Brunson anymore.
That man was gonna get his steps in. It's unfair. LeBron doesn't deserve him, man.
We don't have a full court press defender anymore in this team besides Caleb, I guess.
Josh Richardson.
I don't even think he's a good fit with LeBron.
No, and they're going to use him wrong, and it's going to piss me off when he starts this long.
And then the Laker fans are going to hate him.
And I hope he's just been working on nothing but catch and shoot. If LeBron still would have pounded the ball, I need you to be ready to knock all those shits down. But I would talk to.
He would have been great in Milwaukee. Like if you put him in Milwaukee, like that's great because he can run pick and roll with Giannis. He has like he could do some catch and shoot. He can handle like
that would have been too much for my heart to handle.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I just hate that he's on the Lakers. Nice. But yeah, Bond. So where did they
campaign?
go?
Anybody? Can we get campaign? Maybe.
I know you wanted Beal. You and Lou were very pro Bradley Beal, and that didn't happen. And now they're kind of emptying their pockets upside down, and Lint's falling out, and they're literally the Kevin James meme. They're like, Riley's like, Bond's like, you could have had Beal. Riley's like,
yeah.
Okay, so the reason why I was so pro Bill and so pro just some of the other pieces that could have gotten it done is because I have so you didn't need to try to you wanted to be overpowering, I think, when you really just needed to get better. Like, it's okay to say that you needed more offense. It's okay to say that you need more. You needed all of these things, but it didn't need to come in this one supernova of an entity that would have pushed you super over the top, I think, or just giving you kind of not even an unfair thing, but just, I don't know. You went whale hunting when there were prize bluefin tuna that you could have caught 2-3 of and been eating well and been able to move it around and keep it pretty balanced, and you would have kept some depth, would have been cheaper. And it's just the Dame to me was never a need. I've always said it was like a high price luxury item. You could have gone and got other things that would have taken you kind of over the top. I certainly feel like people say, we didn't have the cap space. You could have finagled some guys hey, I'm working on the thing. Let's work on let's try to preemptively set up some sign and trade types of things. And so, yeah, I think Bill gives you that extra that you need. You need a score with a certain kind of knock to him, with a bit more edginess, with a bit more kind of force behind what it is that they do, is my opinion. Someone that can be the offensive hub, not just distributing it, but taking a little bit of the intended offensive reins for small bursts of time. You get Jimmy some rest. You get Bam continue to ease his way into his complete maximization, and you just get kind of better. You get a guy that wants to work, kind of wants to compete, and it's just the idea of not even kicking those tires, not even considering. And I get it. Jimmy said, "Go get this guy. This should be your focus." Someone tweeted me and was like, sometimes you have to kind of, what your stars want, but kind of you have to have a better handle on what it is that they need. And I feel like, kind of this offseason, we missed some maybe some opportunities at some places that.
Bon, let me ask you a question then. So what were some of the players that Miami passed up on besides Beal that they could have gotten?
And see, that's the thing too. I'm not going to sit, and if I really want, I don't have the list of people, and maybe that takes.
Well, who are some guys that did change teams that you did that you maybe you would have liked in Miami?
I don't know that. I'm not saying people that necessarily change teams, people that you maybe could have not even convinced. And I don't have the list for you. So if that's a knock on my argument, then maybe it is. But I just I remember at the times of things happening, people just very, very much, you're letting the idea of losing out on whoever it was distract you from game.
Was a name that you would have
sure.
liked.
That's
season, what I was asking. Are you talking more that minimum signings that they didn't really make?
Kind of sure. Last offseason, it was Rui. Oh, Rui, you don't want nothing with Rui. D'Lo was out there. Oh, you don't want nothing with D'Lo. And these people go and they contribute in decent enough ways that you could
I think
kind of had. It's situational.
I'll defend the non-D'Lo trade because Lowry was really
agree.
good for them in the playoffs, and I don't think that.
Cool. But I don't know where they go from now.
I get your point.
I don't know kind of what the plan is. I trust him to flesh it out, and I trust who is remaining to.
I will
really
say this.
Want to get going.
Lou, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with what you're saying because at the end of the day, you need to fill your team with NBA players, and sometimes you just need dudes that can fucking hoop.
Yeah.
You don't need the perfect fit. And I think Miami is sometimes obsessed with, is this guy the right fit? And not just like, can this guy play? Because sometimes guys can play and you let them figure it out. I think they have a unique situation because their two best players can't shoot. And that is a problem because that means you cannot introduce another element. Because if you introduce a shaky shooter, you're stuck, right? So that's the problem with the build. And that is where they're scared of taking risks, right? Because listen, and they've missed on a lot of guys, and like a lot of teams miss on a lot of guys. That's not that's like, you know, whatever, it happens. But I do think that there is a little bit of fear that, hey, we just can't bring we just can't fit anyone here because like if this guy just like doesn't have a good shooting season, then we can't. Our offense is going to crumble. Their offense is already bad. You know, the only times the offense is good is when they have shooting. So it's tough. And I agree with you. Sometimes the bird in hand is better than the 10, you know, in the air, but I don't envy the front office. And I think that there's a lot of validity to everything. Lou, what you got?
I got two questions. First question is, if the Heat were to make a move, who do you guys feel like is the person to get traded?
From
like the
Heat?
First name. Yes.
It kind of depends. So I looked at deals because, like, if they want to go for Heald, you can do like Hero for Heald and McConnell and a pick. But like, if you're Miami, like, does that make you feel good? Like, I don't know. You can go for Holiday, right? And then you trade Lowry plus Jovic. Lowry plus JJJ plus Highsmith or Jovic, one of the two. That gets you to the salary. But I don't know. I guess, you know, and you probably have to give a pick as well. I don't know how people feel about that. You know, I think Lowry's pretty likely to get moved because he's the biggest salary and you could get something and he's expiring. And I kind of have a feeling that the Heat are sick of him. So
yeah, I've heard some rumors about Lowry. Like they don't want him on the team no more. Honestly, I don't even know if
we've heard that a lot. I'm sick of people saying that because I've heard that a million times that they're like, oh, he's played his last game for the Heat and then he's fucking here for another 6 months. So keep on. That means nothing to me.
But I'm sure he'll probably get moved by the trade deadline.
I'm sure they have an appetite to find a suitor for him.
I just don't know what they're getting back from realistically that's going to help him that much because he's just an expiring contract.
That's practically my point.
To get something valuable, and I don't even know who that player would be because.
Doug, stop with the overpaid. He was signed over the cap. You guys fucking fix your brain. You don't care about the salary. You just want to complain.
He's still overpaid.
You just want to win.
It doesn't matter. You're not fucking dishing the money out. He's not preventing you from doing stuff. Go jerk off, you dumbass.
And people don't, bro, because he makes too much money. Is that not preventing them from doing some stuff?
No, they're over the cap, and they were over the cap when he got here. So it's not like they can sign. They have their exceptions. You know what I mean? Like that's not preventing them. It's just they gave him the money because they wanted it, and they got him over the cap.
In a way, he's taking a big percentage of the cap for them to use a lot of their exceptions now this season. We basically could only use a vet minimum. We couldn't use the mid-level exception.
The mid-level. They don't want to pay tax. They don't want to pay luxury tax.
Their mid-level was like $5 million. It's nothing. They could have had a bigger mid-level.
And they don't want to pay luxury tax.
Had he been they're paying luxury tax this season. That's not true.
They don't want to pay more luxury tax. Is the point of it. Regardless,
they didn't want to pay more luxury tax for a $5 million player.
This guy again. Buddy, you're not getting it. They're over the cap, and even if you amnesty him, they're still over the cap. If you wave your hand and jerk your dick 3 times, they're still over the cap. They can't sign anybody.
Yep.
Open a fucking Excel sheet. I swear, you guys just love to complain. All you like to do is complain. Listen, where's Barry Jackson's tweet? Barry.
Lou, please.
We like our team. We like our team.
Whether he can get a random next available name. Understand that yearning for this has become an unhealthy, unsatisfying way to go through life, like an addiction. Accepting reality of the way things are.
Step 1 of the grieving process. He just tweeted it out. That's basically what he did.
Fucking hell,
no, but what I was going to say is this season, I don't know if this is only me just, bullshitting or playing devil's advocate, I don't really know. It has a very similar feel to after we make that run and we basically make the finals. Lowry comes, we have before Lowry comes, sorry, we have an aging Goran. We just drafted a two, get a two in the draft. We got young. The team isn't really fit around. Like this team has a similar, I don't know, feel about it than that team did when we just fell short after making the finals. Like I see a lot of similarities. Aging point guard, we had Goran at the time who just came off an injury. Now we got Lowry. Fully understand that. Then we have, some young players trying to step up, a la Jaquez and Jovic and stuff. So I don't know, man. I'm very curious to see what the hell this team does, but I just don't see a clear path to anything until the trade deadline. I think we're stuck with this exact roster, barring like a minimum signing or so. Maybe Udonis Haslem comes back and he fixes the 4 questions. But I'm fucking lost.
I think Hamish surprises some. I'm just like, so it's like
love
Highsmith. I would much rather be in a different place, but there are multiple pieces on the team this season that I am interested in just getting a chance to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah, just to see.
I don't think Kevin Love should be playing many minutes to start the year.
If you were to ask me, given what they have, what is the thing that needs to happen for this team to be the best that they can be? I think I might say Highsmith needs to become like a 30-minute a game player. Mm-hmm. If he can get to that level, of shooting and just like offensive awareness, which I don't think he's that far.
He's not. He really is not.
I thought he was great. I thought he deserved more playoff minutes. I think Spo's just a little skittish of playing young guys in huge games. But I thought, listen, he changed games in that Boston series. I mean, he had dudes in jail. He had the pride of the league in jail.
He has a great body, has a great spring. He's intelligent.
Great hands.
He reminds me of a hybrid between PJ Tucker and Jay Crowder. Like literally almost like a
more stretched out,
more mobile. More mobile than both of them. Not as strong, but more mobile.
Much more agile.
Yeah.
Like some kind of hybrid. So I'm comfortable with him. I think really realistically, the biggest question I have on the team is point guard. Like I know you guys were talking about the 4 and I was just bullshitting about it right there. But like, honestly, Jovic and him, I believe that they can step up and cover that void. Obviously not to a T that you would want without Lillard on the team, but as opposed to with Lillard. But point guard is by far the biggest question. And I don't see a clear solution for that answer. So
what if something like a Iggy JP or PJ hybrid? How does that feel over PJ Crowd?
I actually think Iguodala PJ. I don't really put.
Yeah,
Crowder
I say Iggy
in.
PJ.
I think Iggy PJ. Yeah.
The reason I say Crowder is because Highsmith is a lot more comfortable shooting wing threes as opposed to corner threes, and Iggy wasn't comfortable shooting from anywhere.
I got you.
Oh, I was just thinking defensively. No, that's a good point.
That is a great point offensively. I was thinking like defensive build and kind of composure.
Yeah. No, I get that. I was talking about PJ's versatility defensively as well as Crowder, but offensively he can slip like PJ, can't finish like PJ. But he
some of the like just a little short roll, like
shit. We got PJ for free.
Move into the corners.
You know what's funny? He looked a little lost in the Knicks series, but I thought he looked way more comfortable in the Denver and Boston series. I can't explain why. Probably because New York just has arms.
They're lengthier.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're very.
Like he like kind of they weren't guarding him, and then they'd collapse really quickly, and it looked like it just kind of bugged him a bit. But yeah, that's kind of like my kind of, I need that to happen for them to kind of, that's the one thing, because we talk about this a lot. Like they don't have guys in the pipeline, like Max and Gabe. Max didn't get a lot of time. Gabe didn't get a lot of time until they did, but you knew that they were in the system, and that he felt good enough to keep them on the team with a roster spot. They have Highsmith. They have Kane. I don't know if Kane's there yet. And I know Highsmith is, they have Drew. I think Highsmith is the guy that you're just like, okay, like it's time. And they have Orlando Robinson as well, which I really like him. I know, Bon, you're a big fan. I think young bigs is tough, but
we never have a young big in the pipeline. We always have like an oversized point guards or some fringe like wing forward. I feel like we have like a true kind of mobile you can do something with.
Yeah,
immobile.
Yurt and Hassan were the ones.
I feel like we have a great build of big that we can like actually work with in the pipeline. That's why it's exciting.
That's kind of where we are, guys. We're not going to get too much into previewing the season because we have all of the next couple weeks to do that.
Woo.
We got tons to get to. We're gonna in depth with your favorite MHB personalities. Gonna get some guests in here. Obviously, we're gonna be live on Monday following media day for. I'm sure to be an interesting. I'm sure to be an interesting day. Maybe we'll try to get a guest who was on site that day, see what was going on. But yeah, guys, that's where we are.
I got some slight news. So Brian Winters posted a story a few minutes ago on ESPN. He's talking about how NBA front offices are rushing to kind of start talking to Portland Trailblazers about Jrue Holiday.
Yes,
and he does list Miami Heat as one of the teams that would reach out.
So did Woj.
We'll see. He also lists the Boston Celtics, the 76ers, the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Knicks, the Kings, and the Warriors.
That you know what that sounds like, Brian? Too much competition.
Pelicans. Ooh.
Pelicans want him back.
And then the Heat also signed RJ Hampton to a 2-way deal.
Woo! We talk about pipeline.
We're so back, baby.
We talk about pipeline. We got RJ Hampton, baby. We
okay,
got
real quick. Who yes or no? Lou, are you happy about RJ Hampton? Yes, no, maybe. How about yes, no, yes, no, or
yes?
Bond.
What's his?
Yes.
I don't know. Yes, sure.
Okay.
About it.
I'm looking at his basketball reference.
I said yes.
I'm looking at his basketball reference.
No,
check him out.
He had one season where he averaged 11.2 points in Orlando, and he was 19 years old, but he shot 31% from three. So,
as hell.
Wow, listen,
can he defend at least?
Yes, that's literally all he does. You're praying that he can shoot the ball.
Okay.
Right.
Oh boy, another one of those. The Heat have one of the two. It's either pray that they can defend or pray that they can shoot. It's never
maybe Caleb 2.0 for us.
He's been shooting better, so
I'm not gonna lie, Caleb. But sometimes it was pray he can make a shot.
Bro,
his last season,
awful.
His last season in Detroit, he did average 36.5% from three. It's average.
I'm telling you.
Oh, how many attempts?
How many attempts? Let's see. He did that on 3 attempts a game.
All right.
Well, you know what's something. So there we go. So that's basically that. By the way, that concludes our Miami Heat off-season coverage. Well, good job, everyone.
RJ Hampton, baby.
Let's go.
Ending the off-season with RJ.
That's what we walked away with. Good.
Oh.
Bucks and
it's
what?
over.
See you guys Monday.
Still Heat in 5.